Harris spoke to the ladies of The View, and the big moment of the second night of the debate came up, right? The exchange between Kamala and Joe Biden, and Meghan McCain was not so happy about that.
Joe Biden.
Okay.
And your confrontation with him at the debate, like we just saw. So back in January, you told NPR News, quote, "You're not going to hear me criticize Joe Biden. I think he's a great guy." There's another woman of color in the race, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who has denounced your attack as a, quote, political ploy, given that your position on busing doesn't seem all that different from Joe Biden. So I think a lot of people are curious what happened to that promise, and what would you say to Congresswoman Gabbard?
I have no intention of attacking Joe Biden, but I am going to point out our differences of opinion on a very critical moment in the history of the United States. The issue came up before the debate, many days, if not weeks, which was the comments made about those segregationists and our difference of opinion about who they were. And that they worked on an issue that directly impacted me, which is this issue of busing. So listen, this is a presidential race. And I absolutely agree and believe and maintain that we should not have personal attacks against each other. We should not be attacking each other. But we're on a debate stage.
A Biden advisor called you slick and slippery. A Biden advisor just called you that.
Well, you know what? We're on a debate stage. And if you have not prepared and you're not ready for somebody to point out a difference of opinion about the history of segregation in our country and what was necessary to deal with that, which at that time was busing, then you're probably not ready.
So glad she did not let her finish talking.
She should have just said, maybe I am slick and slippery. What are you gonna do about it, Meghan? What are you gonna do? I'm slippery. Like what does Meghan, Meghan want?
Well,
what does Meghan want?
Let me give you a little bit.
What does she want?
Okay. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but for some who might not know, Meghan McCain seems to like fangirl over Biden. She's a huge Biden supporter. And so it makes sense that she's the one who asks this question with this framing. But I think the way Kamala Harris handled it was correct. I mean, look, I'm not having a discussion about policies right now. So for people on, people who identify as progressives, which I do, I get it. There are issues with Kamala, but that's not the purpose of this discussion. The purpose of this discussion is that Kamala Harris does have a strength, and her strength is prosecuting, debating, arguing. And when I say prosecuting, what I mean is the experience that she's gotten through being a prosecutor in making oral arguments. Like the way that she handles the pushback is something that I think other Democratic candidates need to take a note of, especially Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, because you think she's just gonna focus on Biden? No, she's gonna focus on you pretty soon. And you need to decide how you're gonna prepare for it. First of all, you need to prepare for it. And you need to decide how you're going to strategically respond to her when she frames things in a way that will get you at your Achilles heel.
Yeah, she's graceful. I'm sorry, like she's graceful, she's slick. I don't know about slippery.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know her personally, but no, but she is good. And let's remember what she said. She didn't say, how dare you, Joe Biden? How dare you say that? You owe me an apology. She didn't say that he owed her an apology. She said, that hurt me. It hurt when you said that you were proud of having worked with segregationists. I was like, and you could feel her pain. She was like, I was hurt because I was that young girl bussed into predominantly white school or whatever. Like, and this and that gave me this, it changed my life. So like, and the fact that he had nothing to say to that, still doesn't have anything to say to that, sort of apologized in a rally, but not really. Like, you're absolutely right. She was graceful, she continues to be graceful. She can say that she supports Medicare for all and doesn't support Medicare for all at the same exact time.
Definitely an issue,
But she gets away with it, and so you're right. Other candidates should be prepared.
So what we're not gonna do is demonize Kamala Harris for being the politician that everybody else has been. As a woman of color, she always is gonna have to tiptoe, because if she goes off on Meghan McCain, then she's an angry black woman, despite what so many of you tried to put out there in terms of questioning her blackness. Now, I, for one, I'm about accountability, and when we covered her debate, I was front and center on holding her accountable for the things that she did in terms of criminal justice with regards to people of color. But what we're not gonna do is pretend that she's the only one because white supremacy has been, like I said earlier, in effect for quite a long time. So to hold black people accountable for white supremacy is, respectability politics at its greatest. So I'm not gonna participate in that. One, I'm happy that Meghan McCain did not call in sick when Kamala was there, because she has the tendency to not show up when the people who are gonna check her show up. Secondly, I am very tired of the right always holding the left to this civility argument, like, oh, well, why were you being this, or why are you doing? Meanwhile, they rip your head off. They will rip your head off, and we have to tolerate that foolishness. But when it comes to marginalized people, people of color, and women, why are you not being civil? Why are you guys being so explosive? Why? That stuff is exhausting, being a woman of color. So good for Kamala. I'm so glad she said, wait a minute, because when a woman of color says, wait a minute, that means slow down, homegirl. You don't get to play and cry and do those fake white girl tears on this one today, because I was riding on the back of a bus. And I'm really tired of that. So when it is exhausting, people of color are tired. And so sad for Kamala and Michelle Obama. They don't have the privilege to cry and to be emotional, because then they get stereotyped. But you know what? Good for her, and she should have checked her some more.
Ida, I think you're being a tiny bit unfair, though, because Meghan McCain also had to ride on a bus. Her father ran for president, and she had to ride on that campaign bus. And so let's just make sure we mention the fact that she's John McCain's
You
father.
always make me laugh more than even comedians, because I never expect the joke from you, and then it's like, oh, she had to ride the bus in her little blue suit. None of that.
I just want to say, I want to say that, Ida, your point, and we need to say it again, of holding Kamala more responsible for racist policies is racist. And so yes, being Attorney General, she was more responsible for the prison system and the criminal justice system, et cetera. Yes, however, there are other people in this race who also have records. Joe Biden.
Yes.
So let's just watch ourselves when we lay that all at her feet.
All the time. It's all the time.